Hello everyone, welcome to a video about PragerU. Now, I came across PragerU back when I saw that video about art, which was kind of a bad video. Well, the Prager video was bad. So from there I decided to kind of adventure into this channel to come to this conclusion. This channel is trash. It has a lot of propaganda in it. There's no honesty in it, and it's very manipulative. It's just a terrible channel. It's like everything that people were afraid of. Like, and you might say, "But Theo, aren't you a Democrat? You're just biased. You're not being fair." Some videos on the channel, I can kind of see their point, but the thing is that I don't like about this is that it just kind of stretches a point. And it reaches, and it's just not honest. It's not an honest channel, because it's very clear what it wants to tell you. It's not really, that's just my issue, it's not honest. It's kind of a shitty channel.
Rape, murder, war. They all have one thing in common. Men.
Of course.
Aggression, violence, ambition unchecked by conscience. All the stuff of toxic masculinity, right?
Toxic masculinity is really not about, well, it is about aggression, but it's mostly about how men, I mean, technically it's toxic people. I mean, because, women can be toxic too. But in this discussion, we're talking about toxic masculinity. It's mostly about violence and negative traits that people don't want to be around. Like Bill Cosby, for example. He drugged women and kind of raped them. Well, not kind of, he raped them. That's not a positive or less toxic behavior. That's a pretty toxic behavior. That's kind of what people are kind of criticizing. Well, at least people who know what the fuck they're talking about to begin with. I mean, of course, you're gonna have the Don McIntoshes that are gonna say everything is toxic masculinity, but I mean, that's just, another side of the spectrum.
Right. And the solution is obvious. Make men less toxic.
Well, that is kind of a solution, because, the better idea to make people less toxic is to make them less toxic. Usually, if you try to instill better behavior, like to be less of an asshole, maybe there's gonna be less assholes in the world. I don't know.
Men less masculine. Make men...
No one literally believes making men less masculine is a solution. That kind of doesn't make any sense, because we have testosterone, we have masculine traits, so you can't really make us less masculine. That doesn't really make sense unless you're trying to transition. But whatever, that's not
more like women. But I'm here to tell you...
No one says make men more like women. Maybe the lunatic feminists that are, just on the extreme end, that are just memes at this point. Maybe they want that solution, but people who know what the fuck they're talking about doesn't believe that either. So, okay.
Tell you that way of thinking is not only wrong, it's dangerous.
Wait, so thinking of making men less toxic is dangerous and wrong. See, that to me was the red flag in this video. The other stuff are kind of meme solutions. I mean, I kind of don't really care about those solutions. That I didn't take those seriously. Men less toxic is a solution. It's a broad solution. To be fair, it's broad, but I mean, it's obtainable or attainable. In the sense that, a lot of these bad behaviors that we see can be corrected by just telling people to be less of an asshole and punish bad behavior. But I guess that's wrong. That's negative and dangerous. It's dangerous to think that we should punish people for doing bad things. Okay.
Here's why. When you try to make men more like women, you don't get less toxic masculinity. You get...
But no one genuinely believes to make men more like women. That's not the argument. I mean, is she just responding to meme feminists, meme people? Okay.
More. Why? Because
And I guess making men more like women is more toxic. Okay. Maybe it's as toxic is not gender specific. When you try to make things like toxicity gender specific, it kind of doesn't work with the argument.
bad men don't become good when they stop being men.
Okay, let's take a look at this. Bad men don't become good when they stop being men. So when a man rapes a woman or does any toxic behavior, well, he's just being a man, dude. I mean, let's just let this slide. He's just being a man. You know, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong. He's just being a man. Man does what a man does. Do you see why a lot of people, I would say a lot of people don't believe that making men women is a solution? I don't think anyone believes that genuinely. Maybe as a meme. Maybe just jokingly they believe that as a joke, but I don't think they believe that seriously. I kind of find that hard to believe, because when you have a retort like this, it just sounds dumb when you say it out loud.
They become good when they stop being bad. Aggression, violence, and unbridled ambition can't be eliminated from the male psyche.
So, yeah, well, the thing is, aggression, violence, and unbridled ambition is literally a trait in general people. And everyone has those ambitions, that mentality, etc. You can't tell me you have not seen a woman that's not aggressive. There's no women that are aggressive. There's no violent women. Okay. Okay.
They can only be harnessed. And when they are harnessed, they are tools for good, not for harm.
See how this is kind of manipulating and stretching these negative traits in ways that are good? Like, see, this guy who's being very aggressive, see, we could use that aggression to our benefit, but the thing is that when you have someone that's aggressive, they might not be the most rational person either. We've seen that with DSP, we've seen that with Lily, we've seen that with a lot of people, and it's just that, like, even Donald Trump, you can even see Donald Trump as irrational because of his aggression. Aggression isn't good. It's not good because it leads to bad decisions. Because it leads you to make decisions that are, like, last minute, on the whim, like, oh, this guy fucking wronged me? I'm gonna fucking fuck this guy up. And then you do something that makes it worse. But okay.
Harm. The same masculine traits that bring destruction also defeat tyranny.
And they also kill a lot of innocent people as well. Because you could say, if that's the argument, then we can defend Obama's drone strikes then. Oh, well, see, his drone strikes, it ended tyranny, dude, so it's all good. There's nothing bad that come out of war, right? Except maybe creating power vacuums, creating bigger threats. Yeah, America can defeat tyranny with wars, but, sometimes war may not be a good solution because war leads to a lot of lost life. There's reasons why people want to avoid war. I mean, it's, just a crazy idea people have, I guess.
The traits that foster greed also build economies.
Really? Really? So, greed. So you have companies that are very greedy. They want to raise the price on things. They want to put things more behind paywalls more, right? What does that usually lead to? People either not being able to afford basic necessities. I mean, look at the supermarket. A lot of food has gone up in price, and a lot of people are having trouble, paying rent. They have a lot of issues because things are more expensive. Greed doesn't necessarily foster good economies. On paper, sure. On paper, yeah, it might, because, you're getting more money. But at the same time, some people may not have the money to spend. So it might lead to depressions or recessions. When we deregulated banks, a lot of stuff went haywire. This and that. A lot of bad things can happen out of greedy corporations. But okay, dude.
The traits that drive men to take foolish risks also drive men to take heroic.
But foolish risks. But if you give like a guy, let's say that takes a lot of foolish risks, all of your money, or a good portion of your money, let's say. You're like, okay, invest this in stocks, we're gonna take risks on stuff. And the guy puts all your money on bad stocks, and you end up losing a lot more money. Don't you think that's a bad idea? Don't you want to find someone that's more calculated and strategic with your money, and take more strategic risks than taking mindless risks because they're risky? And also these risks drive men to take heroic risks. That's not the case all the time, though. How many men do you see, random men, by the way, just run into a house that's on fire to save something? There's a good portion, sure. I mean, you might say, oh, well, this person did that person did it, sure, but it's not a... I don't think there's a good statistic out there. I don't think a lot of men do this. But again, taking foolish risks isn't necessarily good either. Yeah, you can find good things out of foolish risks, but you can also find a lot bad that came from it. You know, just because you go to a casino and you take all these crazy risks at a gambling machine or take crazy bets, you might get some wins, but you might take a lot of L's along the way. That doesn't justify it. I mean, look how dumb this is.
Action also defeat tyranny. The traits that foster greed also build economies. The traits that drive men to take foolish risks.
I mean, foolish risks. Okay. I mean, I just can't. I can't see taking foolish risks as a positive trait. Because if we take a foolish risk on a person that controls the backbone of our society or our government, don't you think that might lead to more negatives than positives? Like, okay, we elected Donald Trump. We took a risk on Trump to be our president. Okay, we might see some positives, but we might see 4 years of bad shit. We don't know, but it's a risk that might not even benefit us. But maybe some good will come out of it. Who knows? But should we take these kind of risks when it comes to electing people who has their finger on the button of a nuclear war? Who knows? But yeah, let's take foolish risks. Okay.
Also drive men to take heroic risks. The answer to toxic masculinity...
Like, she's just making these statements that it's like, well, this bad trait can also lead to good things too, dude. And it's like, okay, but that still doesn't make the trait any less bad. But okay.
Isn't less masculinity. It's better masculinity. And we know what that looks like. It's a young man opening the door for a girl on their first date.
Hey, that is sex. That's chauvinistic. That's outdated. Women can open doors, dude, okay? We don't need fucking chivalry anymore. Chivalry is fucking dead. But that's fueled by toxic masculinity, apparently. That's when a man opens a door, that's fueled by negative emotions and toxic nonsense, apparently. Okay.
It's a father working long hours to provide for his family.
How? Where's the correlation between this and the negative stuff you listed? Is him taking... whatever, fuck it.
It's a soldier risking his life to defend his country.
What about women in the workplace? What about women on the front lines? Do they secretly have testosterone? Are they secretly men? What about them? What's driving them to do this?
Growing problem in today's society isn't that men are too masculine. It's that they're not masculine.
But this isn't the argument, though. People are not saying that men are too masculine. That's not what people are talking about. They're talking about people who are aggressive in a negative context. Just think about it. When you see a story about sexual assault or sexual harassment, you're not gonna sit there and think, well, he's being a man, dude. You think that's toxic, that's, terrible that this guy or woman did this. This is shitty, etc. I mean, it's not about them having a penis and that's why they did it, or, oh, they're men, dude. No. They do it because that person is toxic. And it's a bad behavior. It's bad behavior because it's succumbing to primitive emotions or just an entitlement that they might have got somewhere in their life. It has nothing to do with masculinity. It has more to do with how they're raised, how they are treated in life. If someone is handed everything, he might get this ego that I deserve this. I am an actor and I have powers to do things and this and that. Why do you think a lot of this stuff happens in Hollywood? And not because Hollywood is in California. It's because these people have got entitlement issues. The ones that cause these issues. Not all of them, of course, but the ones that you see in the news that have a scandal going on. But okay.
Masculine enough. When men embrace their masculinity in a way that is healthy and productive, they are leaders, warriors, and heroes. When they deny their masculinity, they run away from responsibilities, leaving destruction and despair in their wake.
But that's what wars do. Wars leave destruction and despair in their wake as well. I would like to see this woman, go to a war-torn country that America has been in, and left, and see how it is, how it looks like there. If we're gonna make these comparisons, like, you can't necessarily, like...
They are leaders, warriors, and heroes.
The men who embrace their masculinity in a way that is healthy and productive. It's not them embracing masculinity, it's them embracing their confidence. This is confidence, not masculinity. Masculinity, like, whatever.
When they deny their masculinity, they run away from...
Of course. So remember what she said in the beginning? Oh, see, this is what happens when you make men more like women. So she's kind of, in a way, saying that women run away from responsibilities. Men do that too? It's not just women. But okay. Men run away from their responsibilities, dude. When they don't embrace their masculinity. Sound good?
Responsibilities, leaving destruction and despair in their wake. The consequences can be seen everywhere. 1 in 4 fathers now lives apart from his children. And children who grew up without a dad are...
But that's not because of them not embracing their masculinity. Masculinity doesn't make a dad. It's them embracing their responsibility. It's responsibility. It's a devotion to the people you love and all of that. All of that stuff. Embracing responsibility. That has nothing to do with masculinity. I mean, you might make correlations or connections to it, I guess. I mean, I guess that's what she's doing in this video. But I don't really see that as a masculine trait. Because it's derived to be a family. Derived to be a family man. You know? Am I masculine because I take care of Cleo? Oh man, I take care of Rabbit. Embracing my masculinity, dude. I mean, come on.
Generally more depressed than their peers who have a mother and a father. They are at far greater risk. 1 in 4 fathers now lives apart from his children. And children who grew up without a dad are generally more depressed than their peers who have a mother and a father. They are at far greater risk for incarceration.
Well, depression can attract everyone. I mean, look at DSP. He had 2 parents. He had parents, dude, and he's depressed.
Teen pregnancy and
incarceration, teen pregnancy. Those things are... I mean, sure, they make a portion of it, but I mean, teen pregnancy can also happen just by teenagers not being safe while having sex. But okay.
Poverty. 71% of high school dropouts are fatherless. Of all the rocks upon which we build our lives, family is the most important. And we are called to recognize and honor how critical every father is to that foundation.
What about the mother? The mother is pretty important too in the family. I mean, what if the mother runs off? Oh no, they have the father. It's all good. They're fine. They're fine, man.
That was said by then Senator Barack Obama in 2008. If we are honest with ourselves, he went on, we'll admit that too many fathers are missing from too many lives and too many homes. As much as we try to deny the need for real masculine strength in society, there's no denying its necessity. Healthy families and strong communities depend on the leadership and bravery of good men.
what about good people? What about
Yeah.
like why should like that? It's kind of silly. It's kind of silly to argue that society depends on good men. Society depends on good people. Because anyone could be a leader. I mean, leadership is not a gender-specific trait. But, okay.
Yet, the current trend is to feminize young men in the hopes of achieving.
But it's not, though. No one's saying let's feminize men, dude. It's that, okay, men need to understand, to keep it in their pants, or to not show negative behavior. It's just okay. Let's see if he gets any deeper.
Achieving some utopian notion of equality and peace. And it starts at the earliest age.
Maybe men should understand women to get to equality, because a lot of inequalities and prejudice and all that come from not understanding. They come from people who don't understand where people are coming from. A lack of understanding. You're not going to understand the world if you don't learn about the world. So if men don't learn about women and women don't learn about men, there's no balance with it, and thus there can't be equality. Like I'm kind of tired of people trying to go in just these one sides, and it's like, why don't you just try to understand both sides? Like the whole thing with equality and sexism and all that, it's not that, well, you should feel bad about being a man. And it's that it's them trying to say, look, this is our perspective of the thing, and you should just at least hear them out. Of course, not everything might not be true, or it might be exaggerated, but that can happen on both sides of the spectrum. The only way we can progress as a society is to understand each other, not try to argue and win arguments and win sides and say this guy is wrong. It's more about just trying to hear people out and go from there. You can't really have a discussion without the discussion. But okay.
In the school classroom, boys are invariably the problem. On the playground, aggressive games like dodgeball have long been banished.
I don't know how true that is. I am very skeptical when PragerU tries to tell me these kind of statistics. You don't play dodgeball anymore. I kind of doubt that. I mean, I'm just gonna say that. I'm just gonna say I doubt it. TBH. Just saying, because girls play dodgeball too. It's not like you tell the girls to sit out.
We tell young men that their intrinsic desire to compete is wrong. Everybody gets a trophy.
Everybody gets a trophy. I like that too. I like that argument too, because yeah, I agree that sometimes when you hand participation ribbons, it harms the sense of competition. But again, this notion of like, well, this is ruining competition, dude. So you're telling me that kids go to school, they hand out participation ribbons everywhere, okay, but then after school they don't compete. When they play a video game, they don't compete in that. Kids play video games, so kids innately understand competition. Just because the schoolyard or the schools do something slightly different and hand out participation ribbons doesn't mean that they don't understand what competition is and good competition. They can get that when they go home, when they play video games, and they watch TV. I mean, a lot of kids watch the NFL. A lot of kids watch baseball. They understand competition. Okay.
Don't run up the score. This anti-male tilt continues on through higher education.
Competition is apparently a male trait. Women don't feel don't have any competitive bone in their body, dude. Sound good? No such thing. Okay.
Education and into the workplace. It has created millions of tentative men, unhappy women, and confused boys and girls. Here's a secret that every woman knows.
How are they confused? They're fucking kids. Kids don't really understand their role just yet. They're confused to begin with because they're learning, they're growing, they're kids. They're going to be confused. I mean, it's kind of dumb to think that kids just, when they're born, they just know what they want to do, they know everything. But now since our society has gotten so much more diverse, things that have been coming out of the woodwork, stuff that's been going on, etc. Kids are now confused because they don't understand their role in life. They never knew. I mean, you're telling me that kids just innately knew what they were? You're telling me that a kid that might grow up to be gay knew that they were gay when they were 2 or when they're 4 years old? They don't have that kind of concepts yet. They don't have these drives yet because they're growing. I mean, sure, you might say, but Theo, there are people that are trying to push kids to make these kind of decisions if they feel a certain way. But I mean, that doesn't make it right either. I don't think that's the case either. I don't think kids should be allowed to make life-changing decisions. They should explore decisions. They should think about it, but they shouldn't make these life-changing like end game positions. I feel that when they reach at least 18 years old, they'll have a better understanding of who they are as a person, and if they want to change their gender, go after a certain orientation, whatever, they're old enough to kind of understand that. You know, you have to go through life to know who you are. You can't just, when you're 6 years old, I'm this, I'm that. You can't really make that decision when you're that young. You're young. You're learning about what it is to live. You're confused regardless. People are confused. We're confused people because we're never satisfied with our own lives, and that's not because of our gender or what society tells us. It's because it's life. Life isn't easy.
Women want real men. Men they can count on and, yes, look up to.
What about... I don't know about look up to, but I think women want men that are nice. Not nice... They're not necessarily the nice guy meme, but like nice in the sense that they understand where they're coming from, they listen to them, and they are a little bit more, not aggressive, but more like, competent and strong. I mean, a woman's not gonna go out with a guy that's like, you want to eat the last bread here? Here, you have it, and you don't have to be like, oh right, that's mine. Give me this, give me that. You can it's a balance. It's not about being chauvinistic or being aggressive. But okay.
No amount of feminist theory will change that. I don't know any woman at any age who is attracted to a passive man who looks to her to be his provider, protector, and leader.
But women also don't want to get someone that's abusive either, that has aggressive tendencies and are just abusive. They might not want that. They may not want a man who's like a fucking doormat either. They just want a person that can stand on their own 2 feet and do things as well. I mean, they want someone that's competent. But okay.
Every woman I know wants a strong, responsible man. That's not a consequence of a social construct or cultural pressure. It's innate. The devaluation of masculinity won't end well because feminine, passive men don't stop evil. Passive men don't defend, protect, or provide.
But aggressive men also hide bad tendencies and behaviors. They try to hide what they did is wrong. They try to get away with stuff. They think that they can get away with it because they've gotten away with it for so long. It's not a gender thing. It's just more little nuanced than, well, the guy has a dick, so it must mean something.
Passive men don't lead. Passive men don't do the things we have always needed men to do for society to thrive.
But I like how she's putting, all this stuff that's under passive. Patient, kinda understanding, talkative, want to avoid combat. Oh, these are negative traits. No one wants that. So we don't want a diplomatic person. No one would benefit from a diplomatic person. Okay.
In his book, The Abolition of Man, English social philosopher C.S. Lewis writes about this problem. He describes the tension between cerebral man and visceral man. By his intellect, Lewis explains, man is mere spirit, and by his appetite, mere animal. We need both. Take away one, and you're left with a man who's either weak or wicked. And in a world...
So apparently being spiritual is being weak. Oh. maybe.
World of wickedness, weak men are nothing more than enablers of wicked men. Rape,
What about wicked men that enable other wicked men?
murder, war. They all have two things in common. Bad men who do the raping, murdering, and warring, and weak men who won't stop them. We need good.
So it's the weak men's fault that rape happens. So it's not only the assaulter, but it's also the weak men that was in the situation. He's the reason why that happens. So what is the solution then? That we should just be like, no? Say no? I mean, what? Ugh, okay.
Good men who will. It's not masculinity that's toxic. It's the lack of it.
What's toxic isn't masculinity. I agree with that. What's toxic is bad behaviors. People have bad behavior sometimes. Look at some of the people in DSP's chat. Look at Sidella. So, I guess in a way, what PragerU is trying to say is that people like Sidella is raging masculinity. Sidella is an alpha male, dude. He's just going around. Just be like, alright, this guy, we need to get him killed, dude. Sidella is the most masculine person apparently because he's fucking okay.
I'm Allie Stuckey for Prager University.
All right. There's that. There's another video that in here that's this whole like playlist is ridiculous. But there's one I do want to talk about. Where is it? How to get kids to listen. Oh man, that's gonna be something. I didn't see that. That might be new, maybe. I don't know. The sexiest man alive. Well, is your child getting enough vitamin N? I don't think that I think it's like let kids be kids or something. Where is it? Anger management, men and the power of the visual. It is honestly the best policy. Oh man, that's a good idea. Where is it? What the fuck? Where is it? Where is it? Let kids be kids? There it is.
Summer, glorious summer. Time to dig in the sand, gulp from the hose, play at the park, and leap with joy. Summer, glorious summer.
This person is a fucking idiot, by the way. Have fun with this one. This is the good one.
Time to dig in the sand, gulp from the hose, play at the park, and leap with joy. Unless you're a kid. In which case, find yourself a comfy sofa in a dark, quiet room and settle in. This is the season your parents are bombarded with the kind of warnings previously associated with incoming torpedoes. The basic message? Don't have fun. It's too dangerous.
Don't have fun. This is like the hypochondriac's guide to raising kids, by the way. So you're going to see a lot of hyperbolic nonsense.
Remember when digging in the sand at the beach was a fun activity for young children? Asks the website Kids Travel Doc. Sorry, no more. Based on recent findings, only with lots of do's and don'ts is frolicking in the sand a healthy activity. The blog's author, Carl Newman of the American Academy of Pediatrics, lays out his own don'ts. Studies show that children playing in the sand are more likely to become ill than children merely walking on it.
Yeah, because, kids might put sand in their mouth or, in their nose, whatever, because when you're playing in the sand, the sand gets everywhere. And kids, they might do some crazy stuff. You see some crazy stuff that kids do sometimes. I mean, kids do things. But, he's just saying, this is the dangers of playing in the sand. He's not saying, don't play in the sand, keep your kid away from the sand. That's not what he's saying. He's just saying, your kid might get sick, he might get ill because he's playing in the sand full of other bacteria and germs that can infect a kid. That's all it is. He's not saying, keep your kid in a bubble, keep him locked away. You know, I can find, like, okay.
And the risk of illness increases with digging in the sand, being buried in it, and...
Yeah, because it gets everywhere. When you're burying yourself in the sand, you know, you have a chance that the sand's gonna go in your face, go in your nose, because you're not meant to eat sand. I know, crazy, right?
Digging in wet sand. Okay, got it. Keep your kids on dry sand. No, wait. Dry sand presents problems too.
But he's just saying don't play in it, you know, you can play in it, but just saying, like, these are the dangers that you could get from it. So if you want your kid to be safe, you know, have them walk on the sand, you know, have them play in the water. Just keep an eye on him, make sure that he's not doing anything crazy with the sand. But okay. But we gotta be alertist, guys. Oh my god, don't play the sand, dude. I mean, she's not playing these studies up as a hyperbolic nonsense, right?
So, Dr. Newman warns, discourage children from lying directly on the sand. While you're at it, walk...
Yeah, so maybe you should just take a towel, put the towel on top of the sand, and have the kid lay on the towel. Crazy idea!
Walking barefooted is another don't. Have children wear lightweight, ventilated, hard-soled footwear that...
Oh my god, it's like people might bring glass bottles to the beach that might break, and if the kid walks on it, they could scratch their foot on glass, dude. I mean, who would have thought maybe wearing some footwear at the beach might be a good idea? That's dumb, dude. Just have your kid walk barefoot. You know, take the chance. Take the chance. You know, what's the worst thing that could happen? The kid's gonna bleed? Who cares, right? Fuck him.
Covers the toes. This helps prevent stubbed toes, lacerations, puncture wounds, and burns from hot sand. Ideally, footwear should...
Yeah, because kids have sensitive skin. And the sand stays out in the sun for a long fucking time. You don't think that, maybe the sand's gonna get really hot that might burn your kid's feet? I mean, maybe footwear's a good idea. Maybe. What's so bad about footwear? Like, I was like, oh my god, footwear! Oh my god, gotta put your kids in footwear? Oh my god. It's like, who fucking cares? Just footwear, yippee. Oh no, footwear, dude. What a world. Do we have to kids have to wear shoes at the beach? Oh no.
Should be worn for wading in the water. In fact, you know, why take your kids to the beach at all?
Yeah, I mean, putting shoes on a kid, that's too much work. I mean, now you're not only you have to take your kid to the beach, you have to get him in the car, you gotta carry your towel, sunscreen. I mean, now you have to put little boots on your kid. I mean, that's just too much, man. That's too much. I agree. That is ridiculous. Just keep your kid locked up in your house. That's a better alternative, right? I mean, come on. Putting your shoes on your feet, that's ridiculous.
Better to keep them at home on a hard, non-porous surface free of dirt and obstacles, checking frequently for venomous spiders, disease-bearing insects, and sewage.
Oh, man. Whoa, this is getting ridiculous. Now I have to look for spiders and insects and sewage in my own house? This is getting too much, man. You know what? Fuck kids. Maybe we shouldn't have kids anymore. You know what? She brings up a good point. This is, just because you want to look for the best interest of your own kid, maybe just because you don't want them to burn their feet in the sand, just put them in a bubble. Fuck it. Fuck it. I mean, why use common sense with this when you can just go to the other end of the spectrum and go insane about it?
Children should also be in steel-toed work boots. Come to think of it, chainmail wouldn't be a bad idea.
Look how ridiculous this is. Just because a pediatrician said, maybe you should put shoes on your kids' feet. Make sure that they don't ingest sand. Make sure that they don't put sand in places that you don't want. Maybe make sure that they don't bury themselves in the sand. Just because a person said to keep this in mind that you might get sick in the sand, which is, a reasonable thing to think about because bacteria is in the sand. You have to go to this extra level of, okay, put your kid in a fucking chainmail suit, chain him up. Oh my god, you gotta keep an eye on insects. Look how crazy that she kind of goes just because of that. Yeah, when you have a kid, you might want to be careful of what they eat and all that stuff because, you have a kid that's a different fucking body than you. They're more prone to get sick because they don't have an immune system that's as strong as an adult because they are kids. That's why we give them vaccines. That's why You might want to take them to places that you know the food is good, and you don't want to go to like a random restaurant that looks like shit because you don't want your kid to get food poisoning. But yeah, that's dumb, dude. Just let your kid get sick. It's fine. It's fine. What can go wrong?
But even that isn't enough. Simply keeping the kids at home doesn't ensure they're safe either.
No shit. Every parent knows that the world is not a safe place, ideally for kids. That's why they keep an eye on them. That's why people tell them, be careful of these things that can happen. Yeah, just because someone states these things can happen doesn't mean it's gonna happen. That is kind of like the common sense parents have. No parent is gonna sit there like, my kid could do this and this and this. Alright, lock him up, fuck him. Like, what?
Especially if they make it into the backyard. Parents Magazine warns that bees are attracted to flowers, so don't put...
No shit. When I was a kid, I got stung by a bee in my ear. It sucked ass. I hated it. It was awful. I was crying like a bitch. I was like thinking I was gonna die. Yeah, I fucking hate bees. And kids can be allergic to bees. And guess what could happen to kids who are allergic to bees? They could die. And especially when epinephrine is going up in price, it might not be a good idea to give them bright colors to wear because bees are attracted to bright colors because they think it's flowers.
Fragrances or floral patterned clothing on kids. Surely you've seen swarms of bees chasing children in floral prints.
Has she not been around fucking bees? Of course, an entire swarm is not gonna chase a bee, but it takes one fucking bee. It takes one fucking bee to make that kid cry, like bloody murder, or get an allergic reaction. Do you want to risk that with your fucking kid? Maybe it would be a good idea to give them neutral colors. Give them normal clothes that aren't bright colors that might attract fucking bees. Because no one wants to be around bees. But okay. Okay.
The American Academy of Pediatrics suggests that if your Moppets still insist on playing outside, the little daredevils at least should limit sun exposure during peak intensity hours.
Yeah, because they might get a sunburn, and sun can also give you radiation and might lead to skin cancer. Who would have thought trying to take care of your kid, would create responsibility and work? That's dumb. What happens to just let your kid run around and just do whatever? And then if he gets sick, he gets sick. What could possibly go wrong, right? Okay.
It's between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. That shouldn't put a crimp in anyone's day, should it? The Academy is afraid that kids will get too much sun. It's also afraid they'll get too little sun and end up with rickets.
Yeah, it's almost like, you need the sun to get vitamin D. You do need the sun. Sun is important for your health, but too much of it can be bad. This is the dumbest fucking video I've seen on this channel. That's saying a lot because we've seen so far 2 dumb videos. This is the dumbest one because it's just nothing but fear-mongering and acting as if common sense or information about what can happen to your kid is such a bad thing. So parents should not know how to take care of their kids. They shouldn't know that something might be dangerous. Like, the epitome of this is honestly the bee thing that she was talking about. Oh, you see kids being chased by bees. Is that dumb? Yeah, fuck that. But bees are an everyday insect. You can run into a bee very easily. And it takes only one to give a kid who's allergic to bees that might not even know it to get an allergic reaction and possibly die. Maybe it would be a good idea for parents to know the dangers of what's going on. Of course, the parents should understand as well that these are all possibilities that might not even happen. But, it's a good thing to keep in the back of your mind so you can kind of see, maybe, we can let our kid play in the sand. But, we should keep him a little closer so we can keep an eye on him. If we see something, we can know what caused it. But okay.
A related fear is that kids won't get enough water because, well, everyone is obsessed with hydration these days.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Being hydrated, drinking water, stupid. Kids these days, right? Drinking water? Keeping an eye on your kids' hydration levels, that's dumb. Kids should just drink soda all the time. That's fine. Give them soda. Perfectly fine.
It's always seemed to me that drinking when thirsty does the trick.
Yeah, but kids might drink stuff that's not water, though. Ever think about that? Maybe they might drink soda. They might drink juice. Juice might have some water in it, but, it's not as good as just water. When you drink water, you might get more out of it. Oh, whatever. Fuck it. Dumb kids.
Apparently I was wrong. Now there's a product on the market, a water bottle with a Wi-Fi connection. The app allows parents to monitor how much water...
I don't even think this carried on, TBH. I've seen iDubbbz talk about this, and it just doesn't sound like it goes anywhere. It just sounds like it was something that kind of came up on Kickstarters, and it kind of died. No one really cares about it, so she's kind of going after stuff that's not legit.
Their child is drinking.
In my opinion.
The obsessive little gadget even knows if the kids are secretly not drinking, pouring out water to stop their...
Hey, maybe if the kid is lying about drinking water, maybe that's proof that kids aren't drinking water, and it gives credence to the fear that they're not drinking water.
Parents from texting them to drink more. And an animated character on the bottle's built-in screen grows healthier and happier the more the child drinks. Let's hear it for more screen time.
Oh, this meme of, kids with cell phones. How dare they get cell phones, dude? This is awful.
The Wi-Fi water bottle has yet another great advantage. It keeps the little ones from drinking the wrong sort of water. Google hose water and you will be drowning in stories.
Why would you give your kid hose water? Just think about that. That water usually goes to plants. It comes out of, usually, the basement areas of your house. I mean, technically that's where all water comes from, I guess. But, I mean, I wouldn't trust hose water. But okay.
Linking this stuff to just about every illness except gout. Some study...
Because gout's hereditary, dumbass.
Endlessly report...
I'm surprised water doesn't give you gout, dude. It's fucking hereditary.
Found that hose water contained PVC plastic additives.
Because it goes through a fucking hose. Why do you think it has plastic additives? It goes through a fucking hose that has plastic. Wow, amazing.
Which can cause birth defects, liver toxicity, and cancer.
When they give those warnings, usually it gives them, kind of a, these could happen. Because if they don't give you a warning and someone gets cancer from drinking from hose water, that could get them sued, and they might not want to do that, so they list things that can happen. And it might be worth not drinking from the hose. I mean, I'm just saying. It might be a good idea to drink from a known source.
Naturally, in these stories, there is no mention of how many gallons of water.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That can happen, No one says... So clearly, if water is toxic, it has a lot of plastic additives that can cause all these things. If you drink a sip, oh, that's fine. There's no chance of you getting sick. You need to drink a lot of it, dude. That might be the case for some things, but again, it takes some things to do it. Okay.
A child would have to guzzle for any of these issues to ever develop.
Is there science behind that, though? Do you know for a fact that it has to be a certain amount of water? It might just take a sip. You don't know. What's the science behind this? She's like, well, it doesn't talk about the amount of water it takes them to drink this to get these kind of stuff, but it's coming from a hose that has additives and all these other chemical nonsense in it. Why do you want to drink from that, then? Do you want to risk just having a sip of it, then you find out you got fucked up because of it? What's the science behind this? Did they do science and say, well, it's actually this amount? Okay.
Being a kid these days is no walk in the park, but...
Being a person these days is no walk in the park. I mean, it's almost like your parent wants to make sure that you're not gonna get fucked up.
It's just as well. Yet another Parents Magazine piece warns that to keep children safe at the playground, you should walk away if you see cement, asphalt, dirt, or grass. These surfaces are linked to head injuries.
Yeah, because a kid can fall because they might run too fast, they might trip, they may be on the playscape, they might fall, whatever. And if they hit the cement, I mean, the cement believe it or not, is not a soft surface. So if a kid were to land headfirst into the cement, well, you might be getting an ambulance ride. Dirt has a lot of bacteria, so if you land face first, for example, you might ingest some dirt, and dirt isn't clean, by the way. And there's also studies that say if you don't eat grass because it fucks up your teeth. Same with asphalt with cement. I mean, all these are not good surfaces, and they can cause head injuries. I mean, I wouldn't say walk away, but I mean, still, like, saying that these surfaces are linked to head injuries is kind of a reasonable conclusion to make, because kids can run and they can fall and hit their heads on these surfaces that can cause head injuries. Okay.
So are walls if you bang your head against them.
Yeah, but when you go to a playscape, what are you more prone to see? A wall or a cement ground that the kid might hit their head on? And usually when you fall, it's more of a faster motion that is more intense than running into a wall. I mean, yeah, hitting your head against the wall is also bad. I mean, it can cause head injuries too, but I mean, it's probably, I would take a risk and say that you'd probably see more head injuries with kids with cement floors than you do with walls. Just saying.
My advice to parents is therefore short and sweet. Tell your kids they can't swim alone or get into a stranger's car. And then stop reading other safety.
Yeah, I mean, if they hit their head on the cement and they bleed a lot, because they're not going to just bleed it's not going to be a little cut, it's going to be a huge bleed. They might have a skull fracture, they might have other stuff. Don't worry about that. Worry about that when it happens. So don't think about that can happen. And then maybe your kid's going to be okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a head injury, right? I mean, head injuries usually are just nothing, right? Yeah, of course. And bee stings, if you know your kids are allergic to bees, take the risk. Fuck it. If the kid gets stung by a bee, it was meant to be, I guess. Okay.
Tips, and maybe, just maybe, your kids can have a real childhood.
They can have a real childhood with all that other stuff in mind. All of that stuff that she was talking about is just literally just saying, it's just precautions. It's just discretions. Like, if you're taking your kid to the beach, just keep in mind that this could happen. So you might want to keep good supervision on them. You might want to be careful with what they do at the beach. When you take them to a playscape, just keep in mind that this stuff is there and all this other stuff. She's shitting on these websites that are just stating the negatives that can happen. They're not saying that you should lock your kid up or anything. They can have a real childhood. It's just that you might want to be more careful when you take your kid to a place like the beach or somewhere, which is kind of common sense anyway, because when you take them to a beach, you know that the sun's going to be out for beating on the sand. The sand's going to be fucking hot as fuck. It's just responsibility as a parent. You have to take these responsibilities. It's kind of dumb to sit there and just assume that your kid is just going to be fine. Oh yeah, what can happen? What can happen with a bee sting, right? I mean, just this is the dumbest website. I just can't believe people like this. I have 2 rules as a kid. Don't cross the highway at the end of the street and be home before dark, and I'm still here. Well, of course. My god, parents are being paranoid. Like the Soviets are gonna nuke us at the drop of a hat. Oh yeah, I mean, stupid parents. I mean, why should they be concerned with their well-being of their kid? I mean, it's not like it's their kid and they want the best for them. No. They're being paranoid, dude. Okay. Oh, the war on boys. Oh boy. Let's see. Do I have time for that? Yeah, I'll cover that in another video. I think this is fine. Well, everyone, that's it for this episode of PragerU is Garbage. See you in the next episode when we go through more shitty PragerU videos. And remember, don't support them. They're garbage. They're garbage content. These people are fucking propaganda monsters. They're nonsense. Cleo's smarter than them. Cleo has more logic than any of them combined. Listen to Cleo. Believe what she says. This is not bun propaganda. This is bun facts, okay? So see you in the next episode of PragerU's Garbage. Later.